I also want to go to, there's somebody that I'm really, really starting to dig as a sort of presidential hopeful. I also want to get into a little bit, by the way, first of all, and I didn't bring this up to you earlier, but there's a lot of articles out of nowhere all of a sudden about Biden's age and Kamala Harris. And I am really sick and tired of hearing about the negative news about not just Joe Biden, but Kamala Harris as well.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen her doing this college tour. Everywhere she goes, she's like a rock star.
Yeah.
And I will say, before she was nominated as the vice president, when she was in the Senate and she would question people in the Senate, it was bad ass. Badassery is what we call it. She was phenomenal. And for anybody to act like she is not qualified to be vice president of this country is out of their fucking mind. And I will say I'm a little disappointed in the reaction that Nancy Pelosi, who I think is the greatest speaker probably in the history of this country, when they asked her on, I think it was MSNBC or it was one of those channels, and they were asking her about Kamala Harris, she wouldn't really commit to her being, the best choice. And that was very disappointing because
the presidency next, or is that what she's saying?
Well, they were asking her if they thought that she was the best running mate for Joe Biden in 2024. And she wouldn't really commit to it. And that was really disappointing for me to hear, because the one thing that sometimes I'll give the Republicans, they're in lockstep, period, with everything. They don't give a
doesn't
fuck.
matter. Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wins that nomination. They are going to be 100% in on whoever wins that nomination.
It could be Herschel Walker coming back.
They were behind fucking Herschel Walker. So that's it. They don't miss a step when it comes to that. And that's where the mainstream liberal media and even the liberals and the Democrats, and I will, AOC, when they asked her, at least she was like, yes, out of the people running, Joe Biden is definitely the guy. She didn't mince words. She didn't. But anyway, Gavin Newsome is the guy I'm talking about, who I think has a great shot in 2028. In fact, there are people sort of pushing for him in 2024, which again, I think is offensive. What were you saying?
Imagine him running against Ron DeSantis.
The debate would be awesome.
He would kill Ron DeSantis. Oh my goodness.
Actually, and this is something maybe for another time, but maybe Ron DeSantis has ruined his chance, not just for 2024, but possibly 2028. But you never know. I mean, there's just so much time that goes by and you never know. But Gavin Newsome was on with Dana Bash of CNN. And again, Dana Bash irritated me a little bit in this interview, but the reason why I wasn't irritated throughout the interview is because this motherfucker knows how to answer the fucking questions. And I fucking love it. So Lana, I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm going to play it with your permission.
Let's go.
His poll shows only 1/3 of American voters think that Joe Biden will stay in office through a second term. I know you are downplaying concerns about his age, but do you believe that voters don't have any reason to be concerned that he would be 86 years old by the end of his second term?
Voters have every right to be concerned, but I remember Bobby Kennedy said it best, that what the world needs are the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind, a quality of imagination. I mean this, I couldn't imagine 3 years ago that this president could accomplish so much in such a short period of time. I mean that. If this political season is all about a celebrity, with all due respect, we had a celebrity for 4 years. It didn't go well. And so I want a seasoned pro that knows how to get things done. I'm a little old-fashioned. I want a guy who produces results. And the results are in. It's been a masterclass. There's simply no administration in my lifetime that's been more effective producing more substantive results.
Lana, why is this so hard to say for and by the way,
everyone.
And I will also tell you too, and I'm going to let you get back to your thought there, but you know, this is what drives me crazy too, is that we keep hearing that the Democrats they have a messaging problem. I'm not sure it's the Democrats. I think it's the media has a messaging problem.
Right.
And Gavin Newsom's going to get into that, but I'm sorry, finish your thought.
I don't have a thought, but I agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree, because when you finally hear Democrats on, like the lawmakers and politicians, because sometimes you don't get them on, right? Like I think Eric Swalwell was on MSNBC.
Yes.
And he has great messaging, and Nicole Wallace will ask him like, okay, what is your messaging for this? Like, and he has great. We need more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get back to this interview. I think it's like a 3-minute clip, so we might interrupt it a few times, but it's so far excellent.
Vice President Kamala Harris, go way back.
Yep.
You say that you came up together in San Francisco,
before
knew each other.
we were in politics.
Before you were in politics. Yeah. I'm sure you saw that former Speaker Emerita, Nancy.
Do you know who Gavin Newsom's ex-girlfriend was?
Oh, Guilfoyle?
Guilfoyle.
Yeah.
I don't know why I stopped it for that, but it's
I don't even know.
Kind of shocking.
What he saw. Well, she looked normal back then.
Well, and also she might have been normal back then.
Yeah.
So, you know, the whole MAGA movement has a way of just sucking you in to be a fucking moron, but here we go.
Pelosi, she heaped praise on Kamala Harris, but she declined to say whether or not she thought that the vice president is the best person to be on the ticket with Joe Biden in 2024. Do you?
Of course she is.
No hesitation.
Biden-Harris administration. Masterclass in terms of performance. Bipartisan deals on infrastructure.
Masterclass used twice. I like it.
Bipartisan deals on guns and debt ceiling on the chips and science.
She's the best choice.
I mean, by definition, if I think
the fact that she has to ask that twice, that's, again, the media kind of shit that pisses me off. Yeah. Why did she have to ask that the second time when he was
And why are we even asking it? Because she's a Black woman? Like, when have we ever asked? Did we ask that about Joe Biden being Obama's?
Didn't ask it about Mike Pence either. Not one time did I ever hear anybody, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, find me a clip where people were questioning whether Mike Pence.
Ever.
Yep.
No vice president ever.
This administration, the last 2.5 years, has been one of the most outstanding administrations in the last few decades. And she's a member of that administration. She gets to lay and claim credit to a lot of that success. The answer is absolutely.
I love him.
Phenomenal.
All right,
okay, so that is how you do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've had this discussion before. Maybe Democrats need to find a way to just say, we'll go on every fucking show. I don't care what it is. Yeah. We'll go on every TV show. We'll go on every podcast. It doesn't matter. And we're going to straighten these fucking idiots out that go on their podcasts, that go on their shows and spew the complete opposite bullshit to appease a stupid audience.
Right. And that is what I long for. Democrats on Fox News, get over there. Like, I know sometimes I see one or two on certain shows, but get over there. Yeah, get the hell over there and say these things. Like, somebody's going to hear it. They may not believe it, but they will hear it.
There is a big argument. I've heard a lot of people on the left as to whether or not it's a good idea to go on these kind of shows. Is it good? Does it help? Does it not help? There's a school of thought that it doesn't help at all. And there's a school of thought that it certainly would help. I think you and I may be on the same page just based on what you just said. I don't see how it hurts. You know,
right.
Because I would imagine some independents may be watching these.
Exactly. Or somebody that didn't know it and maybe by chance look it up. Even if you change one mind, right? It's almost like, you know, you have the gun buyback programs. No, you're not going to get all the guns off the street. But if you got 2, that's a good day, right? Yeah. That's a good day.
I mean, I think it's important too, just maybe even for women who are on the fence, to know that there is no such thing as after-birth abortions. There's no such thing as 9th-month abortions. And if it happened, there's maybe 4 cases And it's only because it was about the life of the mother or the life of the child.
Right.
That's it. Not for demonic purposes, not because you're just an evil person. I mean, and we have people in this country believing that. We have people like Donald Trump on with Kristen Welker talking about late-term abortions and after-birth abortions. What the fuck are you talking about? And why are you getting away with saying this?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And they said it at the Republican convention. That was a big talking point, was that. And, you're right. We have to have Republicans that go on to those programs because, number one, that's how it fucking used to be.
Yeah.
Like there was not a conversation like this. It was, you were just on TV. Lawmakers were on whatever channel there was. There wasn't going into each other's corner. That's just like, it drives me crazy. People running over to like Threads, or it's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to pay for X now.
Yeah.
I'm going to Spoutable or this or that. Right. I would rather go nowhere because you're just going to be talking to yourself.
Yeah.
All like-minded people. That makes no sense. We are so fucking, Democrats are so tunnel vision. And this is what drives me crazy about liberals. We're not the only ones that are being impacted if Elon decides to make everyone pay, because he's not going to say just Democrats pay and Republicans don't have to.
Right.
They're having the same conversations too. I don't want to pay that shit.
Yeah.
To go back, yes, Republicans should be on Fox News Democrats, because guess what? Maybe Republicans don't know in their brains that Democrats own guns too.
Right. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because I've heard you say this a couple times. How do you get through? I mean, do you actually get through? Can you actually get through? Because there's a couple of ways to speak to somebody on the opposite side. It's either A, you're an idiot. And yeah, on this podcast, and when I'll say shit like, you're a fucking moron, you're stupid, all that stuff. Part of it's for trying to be funny or entertaining, whatever the case is. But if I'm in a serious conversation with somebody on the completely opposite side, and I think as an individual, we could probably get through to somebody, but do you feel it's effective enough? And maybe I think it probably could be, to get through a group of people, to get through a large group of people who seem to have already made up their mind and that their mind is not changing.
So there's a lot of things at play. So say, like, let's just take Twitter, whatever, X, formerly known as Twitter.
No, just keep calling it Twitter, because fuck Elon Musk. And
good. Thank you. Because I don't like the X, Twitter.
Yep.
You write a post and all of a sudden you have MAGA wing that's like saying, something ridiculous. That's not true. If it's some, I ignore. Some I go back and forth with. And I'll tell what the truth is. Like, no, Democrats are not fucking having, trying to have abortions in the ninth month. They're
not pedophiles.
Yeah, that kind. I may go back and forth a couple of times, but it's not necessarily to change that person's mind, not that crazy person. Mm-hmm. It's for the people who are reading the thread, are just bound, that just so happens to stumble upon the thread, who may get something from it. It could be independent. It could be someone who didn't know the story, especially women in this abortion issue, right? Because they'll be quick to be like, that didn't happen. Someone's baby was going to be born without a skull and they couldn't get an abortion. Boom, here's the article, right? It's here. Google it, right? They may still act like going to their corner like, that's not true. They saw that fucking article. They know it's true, right? So they can't say, because at this point, you're just being willfully ignorant. You see it because you got proof. So that's what I do. It's just the exposure. I'm not really trying to change mine. Expose the lies, keep putting the truth, because when Hillary was running, I think that, there's so many Russian bots. We weren't aware. There were people that was infiltrating. We had Russian bots trying to, with the black avies, we call them digital blackface, right? They were acting like they were black accounts, right? Set up their accounts like they were black, and then act like they were voting for Trump.
Correct.
Right? Then no, get off the plantation. Like that was the big thing, right? To try to move people over. And we didn't fight that enough.
Well, it was probably because a lot of it is that we didn't really, it wasn't part of what we expected, and so when that came out of nowhere, it was one of the, I don't want to say greatest, because I don't want to give it any praise, but it was one of the most tactical uses of basically warfare from another country upon our country without using any weapons whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it worked, hook, line, and sinker. And unfortunately, the fishing pole was still out there and people were still biting off this fucking bait. Yeah. Even though it's clear. I mean, it drives me insane. And I'll tell you what else drives me insane. If I hear Donald Trump or any one of these idiots one more time go, Russia, Russia, Russia. First of all, do you know what that is? That is from when the Brady Bunch, when they'd say Marsha, Marsha, Marsha.
I love using that.
He keeps saying Russia, Russia, in this, and it's just like, this is a guy who is running for president. I'm supposed to take this guy seriously.
Yeah. Strong Putin. He's so strong and brilliant and smart.
Putin did it.
Putin did it.
Yeah. Okay.
Putin did it.